Hi everyone and welcome back to the garden. It's a beautiful September morning here. That light is just filtering through the leaves, the birds are singing. It's exactly as a garden should be at this time of year. And today I want to talk about a couple of plants in the garden, not as a how-to video, but more of a why you should grow these plants in your garden. And those plants are bananas and gingers. Sure, you can't really grow edible ginger or edible bananas here in the UK. Well, you probably can with a lot of work, but it's more about the ornamental value. So if you can't get food from them, why would you want to grow these plants in your garden? They're both plants I've touched on in my videos earlier through the year, but I wanted to show them today while they're looking at their absolute best. And the first one is that giant paddle-like leaf behind me. It's an Ensete, a relative of the banana, that you grow with these amazing paddle-like leaves. Huge red leaves that when the sun shines through them, they've got all kinds of orange and yellow colours. So let's have a look at that one first. This is one of the Ensete plants that I grow here in the garden, and it's Ensete ventricosum morellii, which sounds like a bit of a mouthful, but all that morellii means is basically awesome really. It's the red-purple colour to the leaves. There is a plain green Ensete ventricosum. It's not quite as common, and to me it doesn't really have this impact, and this is the main reason why I grow this plant. Just look at those leaves in the sun, all those oranges, yellows, the sun dancing through them. To me, it's a plant that has so much impact. They're not expensive when you buy them small, but they do take a bit of looking after over winter. They need to go inside really or be dry stored. They won't realistically stand a chance outside in UK winters. They do take a bit of faff, although they deliver this. They're absolutely worth it, and they grow so quickly too. This is only a second year plant, which started off as a small plug plant last spring. I grew it last year, it got to around that tall. Took it inside over winter, planted it out again this spring, and this is what you can get. So in just 2 years, from a plant that costs less than a tenner, you get leaves like this. Whilst you won't get any edible bananas, for me, this sort of ornamental value, it absolutely deserves a place in pretty much any UK tropical garden. Even if you don't want to go fully in with the tropical theme, if you just have one exotic plant in your garden, it's got to be an Ensete. It just brings so much drama, so much colour, and everyone will want to know what it is. And if you haven't got room to bring it in over winter, it's not the end of the world. I suppose you could grow them as an annual plant. For the price of a bunch of flowers, you could buy one of these in maybe April, May time, grow it on in a small pot until the frosts are finished, and then plant it out maybe early June, and in 3 months it'll get something nearly as big as this. You'll get these big leaves and you'll still get that tropical effect. But if you are willing to put the extra work in to look after it over winter, it'll get bigger and bigger every year. And by year 3 you can have something like this. They get really, really big. Not unmanageable, but just so impressive for the amount they actually cost in the first place. And if you don't have anywhere to bring it inside, but you still want a banana plant in your garden, you can maybe try growing Musa basjoo, which is a hardy green banana. It forms a clump, but again it's got these huge leaves and it certainly adds tropical drama to your garden. I'll put a video up there looking at the care differences between these two bananas, but all I'll say is, if you want to bring tropical drama and an exotic flair to your garden, a banana plant is certainly a great place to start. And just to show you a comparison, this is a Musa basjoo with absolutely massive green leaves. It's already starting to form a small clump with little pups around the base, and this one's grown in a pot. You'd be surprised to know that a plant this big actually started off as summer as less than a foot tall. Again, they grow so quickly, and you can grow them in pots well too. Banana plants, you can actually get so much leaf and so much height in even a small pot. And all you do is use a good rich multi-purpose compost, keep it well watered, and feed it with a liquid seaweed or tomato feed maybe every month or so during the summer months. You can maybe up that to every 2 weeks for maximum growth, but to me, they just give so much for such an inexpensive plant. They're definitely worth having in your garden. This isn't a sponsored video and I'm not getting paid anything to say this, but I wanted to give a massive shout out to Craig's YouTube channel and shop Grow Paradise. And if you're not familiar with Craig, he's been doing the exotic garden YouTube thing a lot longer than I have. He's got so much great content for UK gardeners like us. As well as his YouTube channel, he's also got a shop, and I'll put a link to it in the description below. He sells all kinds of exotics, and I bought a lot of my Ensete plugs off him earlier this year. They were a great price, they grow so quickly like all these bananas do, and the packaging was absolutely top notch, which when you bought from a lot of different places you certainly appreciate. Craig, I spoke to him before this video and said that as he'd given me a shout out earlier in the year, I really wanted to repay the favour and let you know about his shop. So if you check out the link in the description below, use the discount code George'sJungle, There's 30 people that can take advantage of that. It gives you 10% off anything you bought from his store. So definitely check him out if you want to pick up some exotics at this time of year, or maybe even next spring, to help build up your summer tropical display next year. Moving on to gingers then, and this is a Hedychium gardnerianum, and it might surprise you, there's actually lots of gingers you can grow here in the UK, and they're a staple part of an exotic garden because they've got that foliage similar to banana that really ties in that jungle vibe. And then late summer, early autumn, you get the amazing flowers that are definitely worth waiting for. And you might think that they're really high maintenance, tricky to grow, but the reality is they're not. They're not really any different to a canna or a dahlia, in that if you give them a bit of winter care, if you store them in a polytunnel or greenhouse, if you keep them there till after the last frost and then plant them out, you're rewarded with all this massive growth. They're an incredible plant, and I've got a full guide that I'll link to just up there, letting you know how you can grow them in your garden. But I just want to show you a couple plants here while they're looking their absolute best and filling the garden with this amazing scent. That last plant was nice, but this is the one that I really wanted to show you. It's just amazing how many flowers you get from it, and the bees, they absolutely love it. I can just hear them humming now. So it's well worth giving them that little bit of winter care because you're rewarded with all these amazing blooms. And it's a late summer flower, so really, as your garden's at that absolute peak at this end of the season, you've got something like this to really crown it off. Those flowers, I don't think you can get more exotic than this. And a couple of little tips and tricks: if you give them plenty of water over the summer months, and if you feed them maybe tomato feed, liquid seaweed every couple of weeks, it really is key to making them grow as big and as strong as this. They're really incredible plants, and one you should absolutely try in your garden next year. Whilst they can certainly be planted in the ground, and they actually might make it through winter in a lot of areas, here I grow them in pots, and they work really well in containers. Again, they can be paired with those bananas to really bring a tropical holiday feel to your patio, so not having the garden is no excuse not to grow them. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and rather than being a how-to video, I just wanted to show you two plants that are looking their absolute best right now. Plants, if you're not growing, you certainly should be. They're not hard to look after, and once you know the basics of looking after them, it's really easy to get that tropical impact year after year. They're plants that you should absolutely be growing in your garden. And if you enjoyed today's video, coming up, I've got loads more videos planned, looking at other exciting, unusual, rare plants that grow here in the garden, as well as how I look after them over the winter months. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.